Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Cleveland, Ohio, and today I have a fun interactive card for you called a pull-out card. Here's one that I did where I took the Cute as a Bug paper and I did some fussy cutting around one of the images. And you pull that out and it says, "Wishing you joy." What I liked about this was I put the sentiment behind this larger circle so that it would be a surprise when you pulled this out, that you would see both sentiments jump out at you at the same time. This is one of the ways you can make this card, which is horizontal. I also made one vertical, and I didn't hide the sentiment. Wishing you so much joy. I liked this. I liked the paper. It reminded me of a picnic, so I chose an image with the little bugs at a picnic. It does not matter when you're setting this card up, when you're cutting it. It doesn't matter whether you're going to do it this way or horizontally, and I'll show you that. Today we're going to make a horizontal card, so I'm going to put that one up so that you can see it. So the supplies we're going to need today. We're going to need a circle punch. I'm using my 1 3/4 inch circle punch. We're also going to need just a regular hole punch. We're going to need double-sided tape. I'm using my tear and tape. The embellishments that I have on here, you can see I have a little ladybug, and maybe you didn't see, but on the leaves I have little dewdrops, and that's what those epoxy pieces are. This is the Ladybug Garden epoxy shapes. That's in the spring catalog. I'm going to put that nearby so I remember to use it. The stamp set we're going to use is Hope, Love, and Joy. I like this because you can use either the O in each of the words, or you can use these images in place of the O. And of course the designer paper is Cute as a Bug. What I do is I cut my designer paper down to 4 by 6 pieces, and I put it in a plastic envelope. That's what I do with half of the paper. The other half of the paper pack gets stored in my 12 by 12 storage. And then what I do is I add the name, the colors that are used in that paper, and where I can find it. And so this is the spring catalog, and it's January of 26. It also tells me that it started as a 12 by 12 paper pack, so that if customers ask, then I have that information right at my fingertips. So let's see what we're going to be using today to make our card. You don't have to write any of this down because it's all going to be in the description below, and it's also going to be in my blog post. When you look at this card, you can see that there are circles. And instead of fussy cutting today, I'm going to be using circles. And so we have 4 circles. This white circle is 1 3/4. The image circle is 1 3/4 also. This circle is 2 inches, and I used Mossy Meadow for that. And then I used Mossy Meadow again, and this circle is 2 1/4 inches, and that's for this circle right here. It's also for this circle, and I made it larger so that that circle could hide the smaller circle. What I was doing was putting these together so that I could see how did I layer them. So I'm going to put the white circle, that's 1 3/4, with the 2 inch circle, and then the image circle on top of the largest. Okay, and that's going to help me remember what goes with what. Continuing on, we need, this is part of the mechanism that's going to be pulling a piece of white paper, 3/4 by 3. It really doesn't matter what color, but I used white. A piece of twine that's 6 inches. I'm using Mossy Meadow. A white piece of cardstock that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. This is going to be the pull-out piece. It's this big piece right here. We're going to need a strip of designer paper for the end of our card here, right here. 3/4 by 3 7/8. Really, you can make it whatever size you want. A piece of designer paper for the front of your card, and that is 3 7/8 by 5 3/8. And then we have a card base 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And we're going to start by scoring this. I'm going to move some of these supplies out of the way so that gives me enough room. Excuse me. So what I did here was I wrote down that we're going to score at 4 and 8. Now that's the same as scoring at 4 from the left side. And we said this is an 8 1/2 inch piece of paper. So if I score at 8 inches, it's actually just a 1/2 inch from the right side. You can do what's easiest for you. That was easy for me. Okay. I wanted to show you how to cut your paper if 8s are difficult for you. This is 5 3/8. A 1/2 inch is 4/8. So you back up 1, 2 lines, and that's 5 3/8. 3 7/8. This is 6/8 right here, which is 3/4. And then you go 2 more ticks and you're at 7/8. And if that's difficult, cut your paper at 3 3/4. And then this measurement could be 5 1/4. Okay. So what we're going to do is take our card base and we're going to fold on the score lines. And remember, you're only going to have a 1/2 inch over here. You're going to put the card base down on your table and make sure that you can see this folded piece, because that's going to be the back of our card. We're going to close this and we're going to attach our designer paper to the front of our card. Okay? And if you have a good adhesive, you really don't need a whole lot on this card. I like to turn it sideways here. It's not easy to line it up on a paper trimmer, but we still need this thing, so I'm going to do the best I can. So if it's not lined up perfectly, that's okay. All right. Excuse me. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open up this card, and the part that's going to be the front is going to be this way on your trimmer. This part, France Martin said, just remember 1 inch, and that made it very easy. So what I'm going to do is move this over to my 1 inch line. So you're going to measure in 1 inch from this side here. And again, it doesn't matter whether this is going to be vertical or horizontal. And then I'm lifting this up so that I can move my cutting blade, because we're going to be cutting this. I want to move my blade down to the 1 inch mark, and that's right here. And I have a line down here which is 1 inch from the bottom. Again, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. So I'm going to push down with this and cut down to my blue line. All right, and you want to make sure you've pushed down so that it goes through both layers. All right, now you can see that you've done that, and we're going to remove the trimmer. Look good? Now take your circle punch, and you're just going to kind of eye it up here and see what kind of looks like the middle. And on my circle punch, you can see that there is a line here. And so I'm using that to kind of gauge where the center is. And again, I'm not right in front of this, so it may be a little bit off, but I'm just punching out a little piece like that. All right. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to take our designer paper and add adhesive to it. Right at the edge. Then we're going to take our punch. I found the easiest way to line this up was to put it back here so you could see where your hole was. And then make a punch in what looks like the middle to you. Poor little ant. Take your twine, and I match the ends of it. And I take the end here that has the loop and I twist it a little bit. And I'm going to feed it through the hole that I just made from front to back. And I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to take these ends and pull them through. All right, let's try that again. It really is harder when it's not right in front of you. Don't judge, don't judge. All right. Here we go. Grab the ends and pull. You certainly could do a knot if you want. I just like the way that looks. And if you're using ribbon, it looks real pretty too. It's not as easy to see on the baker's twine, but the ribbon, it does look pretty. All right, and this piece is going to go in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this flap down and we're going to add our double-sided tape. I like to put it on my wrist so that I can handle it. It's not going all over the place. And I just put it right down the middle. Quick and easy. All right, so this part is done. This part is done. Let's get to the stamping now. Here, what we're going to do is the word joy. And what I want to show you on this is that when I did this, the word joy was stamped close to the end here so that it would all fit. So I'm going to use my Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to put it as close as I can. What I'm stamping on is a thick pad, so I don't have my paper piercing mat. But you do need to have something that has some give to it so that you get a good even coverage here. We're also going to do the sentiment for the front on the white. Wishing you so much. You notice that I keep my ink pad to the right of where I'm working so that I don't have to reach over any of the things that I have here or any of the other things, so that it's easier for me to stamp. All right, we're going to put this away and take out the Mossy Meadow, and that's what we're going to do the letter O in. And I could have used one of those images like a heart, but I chose to do joy. And we're going to put it right here. Let's close that up. Now we're going to put this together. So we'll bring back our card base. And I want to layer these, and remember I had this on top of this to make it easy for me to remember what goes together. So I'm going to put adhesive on this, and again, you don't need a lot of adhesive. For me, when I'm putting these kinds of things together, it's easier for me to pick it up and tilt it towards myself so that I can see all the way around. It makes it a lot easier for me to line up. Same thing with this. If you want, you can put a dimensional behind your image. Again, the same thing. I'm going to hold this up. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces parts, and we're going to put this together. You can see this is not a difficult card, it just has a lot of steps to it. So we're going to take the word joy, that white piece, and we're going to put it here, and we're going to close this. Now you have your white piece, which was 3/4 by 3 inches, and we're going to add just a little bit of adhesive to one end. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to put it through just like this. All right, see how I did that? I threaded it through. You could come from the bottom up if you want. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move this piece all the way to the end of the line here. Do you see how I did that? I don't want it in the middle, I want it all the way to the end. And then what I want to do is I want it to be even with the white paper in here. So I want to line it up so that it is even with the bottom. See that? Okay. Now with this flap is still going to be down, and I'm just going to play around with it here. I want to pull it and make sure that this mechanism moves. Okay, so far so good. So now what we're going to do is take our image panel and we're going to add it to the card. Now what we'll do is we're going to add our adhesive just to this white strip. And then we'll put our image on top. Isn't that cute? The image is going to show a little lady who's knitting. I know, it's the little things. All right. And on this one, I do want to hide the sentiment, so I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on it. And this is real easy. All you're going to do is lift this up and put this behind. And you can see it doesn't matter if it touches this or if it's just a little above it, as long as it's behind your circle. In fact, if you wanted, you could put it like this, just to hold it with this circle and then push down. Then you'll know it's behind. All right, let's see how that looks. So good, so good, so good. All right, the last step before we decorate. We're going to take the release paper off of this. And here's what we want to make sure we do. We want the white paper to be down against this Blackberry Bliss paper. You see that? So you have the Blackberry Bliss background paper, then you have the white paper, and then we're going to fold this in, and you'll see that it is on top of the white paper. Okay? I like to lay it down like this, and I put my hand down here so that I'm sure that it's flat up here, and then I work my way to the edge. That way I get a nice flat surface there. And if I've done it correctly, I should be able to pull this and it will move. Okay. Last step, we're going to add our cute little bugs. Again, you can do this wherever you want. I'm going to put one on that leaf, and then I'm going to put a couple of these on the leaf here so it looks like little dewdrops, which I think is going to add a lot to it. So there you have it. This is called a pull-out card, and it's an interactive card. Wishing you so much joy. Well, I hope you like this card. I hope you give it a try. And thanks for watching.